Chin tucked boxing, baby.
Yep, you know what time it is, man. This is, of course, your favorite channel, man, CTB. It's your Chin Tuck Boxing. I'm your boy, Jay Slay. Shoot up to him, man.
What's up, everybody?
Great night of boxing, man. Very great night of boxing, man. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. It went surprisingly to both of us, I would say. It surprised me as well, but I did call a stoppage for Terence Crawford between 9 and 12. So I will say that. Go ahead and let the fans know, man. Who was right, who was wrong, what you thought about the fight performance, and what do you think went wrong with the performance, man?
I mean, I'm blown away, man. Like, first, I want to give a shout out to the event as a whole. It was a great night of boxing, like you said. We got a mega fight. I wish it could have been a little bit more competitive, so people would want to tune in again. Because for the casuals that was pulled into the fight, this is not going to make them want to sit around and maybe watch another mega fight because it was so one-sided. But I got to give Terence Crawford his credit, man. He is the best fighter in the world. He is he's one of the greatest. I already got him top 15. I told you if he could come undisputed in two divisions, he got to at least be top 15 ever. And now, I mean, you got to look at it as if him and Earl Spence don't do a rematch, which I don't understand them doing a rematch unless it's going to be at 154, because at 147, I don't see nothing changing. At 154, you can have the storyline. I mean, I still would favor Crawford, but you have the storyline of maybe he was weight drained, he was in the division too long. 154, he'll be stronger, so you can feel a fight off of that. But I mean, he can go to the next guy and Jamel Charlo, but then we don't know what kind of condition he gonna be in after he fight Canelo. Canelo might take a lot out of him and break him down. So, but I mean, if I'm Terence Crawford, I wouldn't care, because then you can be undisputed in 3 different divisions. But I mean, to me, this, like I said, the cherry on top for Crawford. He showed the world that anybody that doubted him, anybody said he had a weak resume, had a weak chin, that that he was a little overrated, and then he got a chance to prove himself. So a lot of people got to eat their crow and give a man credit in his just due. You know what I mean? I'm the type of person, I'm not a sore loser because I love boxing first, but I also have a love for Earl Spence, that I've been rooting for him the last 8 or 9 years, and this was the fight for him to be the man in boxing. And he dropped the ball, but shout out to Terence Crawford, man. Great win for him in Omaha, Nebraska.
I gotta say this, man. I give my boy my props, man. Like we said here early in the fight, like I said, if Terence Crawford would have lost, I would have died on my shield. So I salute my boy Mon for coming on camera tonight and actually doing the show and not ducking off, like a lot of you fans gonna be doing. I already see it. My boy Mon called a few weeks ago. All y'all about to be Bruce Ennis fans now. All them man down. Everybody was saying big fish and man down this and man down that. Y'all man got dropped 4 times tonight. It was man down, all right. It was man down 4 times. 3 times? Okay, yeah, man down 3 times. My bad. It was being so bad. I forgot how many times the man hit the mat, man. It was funny. What was funny too, when my boy Mom, Terence Crawford doing his little mat sweep joint in the beginning of the fight. My boy Mom was like, "Yeah, he cleaned the mat." I said, "Yeah, he clean where he gonna be laying down at." He was laying down. He was laying down in that spot a couple times, man. It wasn't how I thought it was gonna go, man. Like I told you in the film don't lie, yo. Film do not lie. I did a lot of film study for this fight, bro. I went back to that very first fights and watched how the styles changed and how the styles developed, and I seen the same thing, the same mistakes Earl Spence been making his whole career. He's still been making them. He's been making them since the Ugas fight. It's still up to the Ugas fight. So I knew everything. I knew he was gonna get caught between each punch. He would get caught. I knew once Crawford took that jab away, he knew what he's gonna do. I knew that he couldn't fight going backwards. I knew that he wasn't the bigger, stronger man. I knew that being the bigger, stronger man wasn't gonna matter too much. And actually, what was more surprising was Terence Crawford was the bigger man tonight. Terence Crawford was huge, bro. His back was wide. He was a lot bigger than Earl Spence in this fight. So, man, it's bittersweet for me. Like I said, I was a fan of both guys. I think a lot of emotions came into this fight because of all the casual fans, of course, took their side. And then all the hardcore fans also picked their side. And, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people talked a lot of shit. And a lot of people got to eat crow, man. I got to say it. My boy Mike, his crow, man. I appreciate him coming on camera tonight. But let's talk about the rematch, man. You saying you don't want to see it. This is at 154. like I told you off camera a minute ago, man, you can't take this fight for granted, because Wilder Fury 2, Wilder took a beating. It was a beating from pist to post. They threw the towel in on him. He quit. They threw the towel in at the end of the fight. But in the third fight, it was an all-time classic. He actually dropped Fury 2 more times in that fight. It was a closer fight. So you don't think this fight has the potential to be one of those fights where, you know, he enforces his mandatory or enforces his rematch, and then, you know, the third fight is way better than, or the second fight is way better than the first fight?
He is. He's going to take the rematch, but I don't see anything changing. The difference between him and Wilder is Wilder has that one hit acquittal. So even though Fury was the superior boxer, similar to how Terence Crawford is right there showing he's a superior boxer. The difference between Wilder and Spence don't have that one hit acquittal. So it would always, with Wilder, Fury could be out boxing him for 7-8 rounds, and we just knew that if Wilder could catch him one time, which he did in the third fight and in the first fight, and he was just close from having 2 wins, we knew that he had a chance with that power. Earl Spence is more a thumper, more of a break you down type fighter, and he couldn't really get the Terence Crawford like that tonight. I mean, his punches were sticking. He caught him a couple times on top of the head a little bit on some shots, but Terence Crawford took him pretty well to me. So I don't see anything that's gonna change. I think it could. Well, it can't be worse, but I don't see it being much better than what it was. Like I said, at 154, it'll be more intriguing because, I mean, I don't think it's gonna make that big of a difference. I think it'll be a little bit more competitive, but people gonna say he was weight drained. He was at the weight for 10 years, and that he was just trying to stay in the weight to be undisputed. And you could tell his punches weren't strong. He wasn't the same fighter. His punch resistance was off. He didn't look the same. He walked to the ring. You're gonna hear a lot of those excuses. And then, you know, even Earl Spence might have been throwing a little bit of. I told you I was growing 150, 147. I was trying to squeeze in it. So the only kind of storyline I think we can have that'll be intriguing to the public, but people don't want to buy it again, will have to be at 154.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't want to see either one of those guys at 147. I mean, it was rumors before the fight that Terence Crawford had struggled to make weight, even though I think it was just rumors. It was bullshit. It was saying how he had to weigh in multiple times. The way I thought it was bullshit, but it might be some truth to it, saying how big he was tonight. And maybe he struggled to make weight a little bit. So I would like to see both of these guys move up. Namely, I want to see after the Canelo fight, whether Charlo win or lose, Charlo got to come see Crawford, bro. Charlo got to come see Crawford. He got to do it for his gym. He got to do it for Derrick James. He got to do it for all the shit talking they've been doing and everything like that. Charlo has to go in there. I would love to see Charlo versus Terence Crawford, bro. I always thought that Charlo was going to lose to Crawford. I always thought that. People thought I was crazy. But I said, I think Crawford can do it. Now I'm even more convinced that he can actually make Charlo look like more easier work than he did Spence. Because everybody's saying Spence was the better fighter than Charlo. Everybody's saying that Spence get Charlo that work in sparring and all this and all that. So, in my opinion, I agree with that. I think Spence is the better fighter than Charlo. And if he did all this to Spence with ease, bro, I can. The only chance Charlo got is one of them punches actually hurting him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't see him causing Crawford much problem because he don't have a jab of Spence. Spence landed 33 jabs tonight. Crawford reduced Spence to landing 33 jabs, and was it 37? I think it was 37 body shots. He pretty much took away his best weapons, which was his jab and his work rate. He took all that in half, and Crawford and Spence had no other game plan. Like I said in my prediction video, once you take that jab away, you can't sit there and tell me you can box with Crawford because he boxed Mikey Garcia. You had to show me more than he showed me against Mikey Garcia, bro. So what do you think about in closing, man? You got anything else you want to add other than
I just say
Terence Crawford era right here? This Terence Crawford era?
Well, I just say that I think Charlo would give him a better fight, but I would favor Terence Crawford. But I think he'll give him a better fight than Spence, even though I think that Spence was giving Charlo that work, but I think styles made fight. I think that Charlo's style.
I think they got the same style, bro. They fight the same to me.
I think Charlo is more athletic than Spence. He's a little bit more athletic. He got a little bit more explosive power. He don't got the thumping power, but he got that explosive power, kind of like Terence Crawford. So he can get light in the bottle. So I think he would put up a little bit better fight than Spence, even though I think Spence probably was getting the better Charlo. It's between them two. But I don't know how Charlo gonna feel, because if he think that him and Spence is kind of even and, they sparring, and you see a guy that just pretty much just smoked the guy that you thought was the guy. How much confidence you got to jump in that fight. So I guess you got to worry about Canelo there, so I won't say too much about that. But in closing, I just once again give Terrence Crawford his credit. Like I said, he's the greatest in the era. You have to make him the best fighter of the era. You know what I'm saying? Right after the Mayweather and Pacquiao era, he's the man. So he is what he is, and I think that chapter is closed as far as this era, as far as who's the best fighter. And then we gotta go to the new chapter of the Bruce Ennis and those of the world. But for this chapter, that book is closed and that conversation is over. It's not a debate of LeBron and Jordan debate anymore. We know who's the fighter of this generation is, and it's Terrence Crawford. So give the man his credit. He a mean nappy-head bastard, but he won tonight.
Man, this is bittersweet. Like I said, me and my mom, we having this discussion about this fight for 8 years. So this is a close to 8 years, bro. So how do you feel about that? Just being like the introduction to me and your friendship right here, with this fight right here, leading up to it. How do you feel about this ending to that saga, pretty much?
I do want to say I still love Errol Spence too, man. You still my boy. You still a killer. You gonna come back stronger than ever. I'm not like them bandwagon fans. You lose and everybody want to dump me and jump on the next one. We still rolling with you. You gonna get back up and do your thing. Yeah, man. It's like bittersweet because it's really bittersweet for me because the way it ended. But I would, it's kind of crazy because it was kind of surreal when we got here tonight and we was watching the fight. It was like, damn, this fight really came to pass. After 8 years and us talking about it. So it was just. I don't know. It just seemed like it wasn't real. So, I mean, to me, I'm still happy because it was boxing. Like I said, once again, I wish it had been a little bit more competitive because I wanted to draw people in. I want this to be like Wilder and Fury, the third one. I mean, I had people at work. People don't even watch boxing. You were like, man, that heavyweight fight was crazy. He got knocked down. They came, and I wanted it to be like that. And if Crawford would have won, I would still would have put a smile on my face because I'm a boxing fan before I'm a boxing fan of a fighter. But it's bittersweet. But hey, I mean, I guess this chapter's over. But we're gonna start picking these new fighters that's coming out, and we'll jump on one, and we'll probably do it again in 5 or 6 more years. And this time, I gotta really be on point because I gotta be right this next time around because I don't want to go through this again.
Film, watch the film, man. Film do not lie. Watch the film. Like I said, film don't lie. It was just levels. There's different levels to it. Like I said, resumes had nothing to do with levels. Resumes the only names on records, which I was trying to tell a lot of people. It's also bittersweet for me, man. Most definitely bittersweet. This long time coming. I'm kind of glad how it ended. I'm glad of the winner, but I'm kind of sad for Errol Spence because I know a lot of, like you said, a lot of the bandwagon fans are going to jump off his bandwagon, which is sad to see. And there's going to be more people, losing faith in him in his next coming fights. You know what I'm saying? They're going to call him a fluke, per se. They're going to say he was a fluke, blase, blase. And if you're one of those fans, man, then you shouldn't be watching boxing, in my opinion. You should be watching MMA or something. If you didn't order this fight, if you didn't watch this fight from Showtime or ordering it, you need to watch a different sport. Because this was a great event, man. Undercard could have been a little better, but I ain't complaining about it, man. Like I said, it was a great event. Most definitely was a great event. But that's the final question. Where do you see these both guys going from now here if there's no rematch?
I know Terrence Crawford want to go to 154. He gonna want to wait on Jamel to come back down. I mean, that's all. He's about to be 36 years old. So I'm thinking Terrence Crawford probably only got about maybe 3 more fights left at him. He don't got nothing else to prove. So I feel like right now he's only looking for money and accomplishments and accolades so he can move up that greatest of all time list. If it ain't a meaningful fight, it's a waste of time for him at this age and this time. So I think Jamel makes the most sense. You know what I'm saying? Waiting on Jamel after that Canelo fight because any other fight is just a waste of time unless he just want to beat on Keith Thurman before just for the fun of it. Because he might make a little money off Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman can talk that talk in pay-per-view and make people believe that he got a chance. And I'm a boxer. I'm not gonna sit there like Errol Spence. I won't be either. Hit and I got that one-time power. He can sell that fight. And PBC might want to throw that fight out there, just for the weight on Jamel. But other than that, for Errol Spence, I think he definitely need to move up to 154. I think he need to have a kind of I won't call it a tune-up fight at 154, but he might want to jump in with the killers right now, just to get his confidence back. And then after that fight, maybe catching a Tim after that. And I think that could be a tough fight for him. But maybe a fight like that, I think it'll be a good fight for him. But I think that's the direction he needs to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think both guys should move to 154. I am surprised. It's two things I'm really surprised about this fight. I'm surprised on how much more of a monster that Terence Crawford was compared to Errol Spence. It really threw me for a loop. So I'm really I'm a lot more confident now. And like you said, him fighting Jermell Charlo. And you even mentioned Canelo's name. I'm actually kind of confident that even he can get Canelo a run for his money for real. In my honest opinion, especially the Canelo we've seen of late. You know what I'm saying? As far as Spence go, I would see him in there with somebody like you said. Keith Thurman would still sell. I wouldn't mind seeing Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. They have the backstory to it. I wouldn't mind seeing them going up and fighting Danny Garcia again, or fighting Lubin or one of those guys at 154 to get his feet wet up in that division. But he has to bounce back, man. But really, what I want to see, I'm gonna be honest. I want to see the rematch. I want to see him in the rematch, man, for his pride's sake. I think if we don't take that rematch, it's gonna do more damage to his pride than it does, to his body. You know what I'm saying? I think this is his first loss, and he took it bad. I'm not gonna lie. He took it worse than most anybody can expect it. So for his psyche, I think he need to go in there and face that monster again to get it off his back, in my honest opinion. The same way Wilder did. Wilder got, dominated by Fury. The reason why he came back the third time a lot better was because he got the fear of losing off of him. He got the aura off of him and realized that I got to get on my game and actually learn some shit. So you got with Malik Scott, changed his game plan up and changed his roles up and actually went in there and made a big count on himself. I'm not saying Derrick James is the bad trainer. I'm not saying that by no means. Derrick James is a great trainer. But he had the wrong game plan this whole fight. Him telling the media and him telling pretty much Errol Spence that you're going to just run over this guy, you're going to break this guy, and all this guy is athletic. That's not the way you train a guy for this type of fight, man. You got to really break your opponent, break your fighter down and tell him what he need to be doing. Because, like I said, man, Errol Spence has been the same fighter since his first fight. Like he came in with the same style he always do. And somebody who's a film junkie like Terence Crawford, whose body he never been drinking, he never been smoking, never got no car accidents. He's a boxer, man. He lives and breathes this shit. You got to come in with a fighter that does that shit, man, for real. But yeah, you got anything else to add to this topic, man? This great night of boxing.
I think we covered it all.
I'll say this in closing too. This is the reason why PBC did not want this fight. PBC did not want to see this happen to Errol Spence. They knew this was going to happen. That's why they was trying to throw Keith Thurman in there. That was the hold up for this whole entire fight. It wasn't Errol Spence. It wasn't Terence Crawford. There wasn't the hold up for this fight. What happened was they didn't want to get Terence Crawford. Yeah, they didn't want to pay the man, number one. And number two, they knew that this was a real fight. This was going to be a real 50-50 fight. And they didn't want to see Errol. They didn't think Errol was on that level yet. I'm going to be honest with you. They knew that. They knew what I knew. That Errol has a problem with his speed and the counter punching. The same way he did against Sean Porter. Sean Porter didn't have no punch behind him. But with that being said, this is most definitely your favorite channel, man, CTB. This is Chin Tuck Boxing. We got to fillet him. Got him on the show line. About to fillet him. Grill him up. Fish fry, baby. With that being said, your favorite channel, man, CTB. This is Chin Tuck Boxing. I'm your boy, Jay Slay. Say peace to him, man.
All right, everybody. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and comment. You know why? Because you love boxing and I love boxing. But most of all, God, peace and love, and we out of here.
Here's Crawford era, baby.
Chin tucked boxing, baby.